For that live update, taking a look now at our other state Senate race, this time between Democrat Jacob Oliveira and Republican William Johnson, both vying for the seat currently held by Democrat Eric Lesser, who's not seeking re-election due to his run for lieutenant governor. The state Senate seat representing 1st Hampden, Hampshire and Worcester district, showing Jacob Oliveira with 57% to Johnson's 43%. And Western Mass News reporter Paris Dunford joins us live from Oliveira's watch party in Ludlow. Paris.
Yes, Chris, Jacob Oliveira just announcing victory here a short time ago. This is video of him walking into this room that was filled with family and friends, talking about how this has been a long night because of the delays precincts have faced with early and mail-in voting. But with about 60% of the votes, Oliveira has announced his victory. He thanked his friends, family, and campaign team, saying their help is what got him those votes today.
I think it was knocking on doors and connecting voters right at their doorstep. We knocked on over 20,000 doors in this campaign. I did alone. Our team knocked on even more than that.
Now, Oliveira says first things first, he plans to finish out strong for his term as state representative for Ludlow. He then plans to meet with outgoing Senator Eric Lesser and the senators he'll be sharing communities with, hoping to prioritize getting those resources here in Western Mass. An exciting night here in Ludlow. For now, reporting live for Western Mass News, I'm Paris Dunford.
Paris, thank you.